Good evening. It's a little bit later than I'm coming to you tonight, but I wanted to do that and continue where we left yesterday. But first, thank you, Jesus, for your word. We open our hearts. We're hungry for your word. And we receive your word. We open our hearts to receive it in Jesus' name. Amen. We were in verse 4. So verse 5 says that God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So he distinguished it, the day from the night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. That clearly states that God created the heavens and the earth, and or restore them, to what he created originally before, maybe some kind of war that happened between the devil and his angels and God and his angels. But establishes here that it was the evening and the morning, clearly the first day. So he restores the earth in 6 days, and then he rested on the 7th day. And these days are literally days, because it says it was the morning and the night. It was the evening. It was the evening and the morning. So, because God comes from night to morning. That's how he did it. When he restored the earth. So the evening and the morning is one day. And God says, let there be a firmament on the waters, in the midst of the waters, and let it divide in the waters from the waters. So he divided, the seas and the rivers. God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. So he made the heaven that we see, this firmament, because there's more than one heaven. There's some people that say there's probably like 7 or even more. Who knows, But at least 3, because one is the one that we see. 2 is the universe, right? And 3, it's the Apostle Paul talks about it, and he says that he went to the third heaven, and he saw things that it is very difficult to express with human words, but the things that he saw, and his detail on his letters that he had that experience of going to the third heaven. So at least 3 heavens, or even more, Then God says in verse 9, we're gonna go a little bit just reading through it, so we can cover it really well. God says, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together and to one place. So that was the sea. And most likely, and we're going to study later, when the earth was divided, is that at this beginning the earth was all together, like all the continents, they were together. And the sea was just around it. That's why it says, let there be, that water, those waters be gathered together, unto one place. And God called the dry land earth. So the continents, he called them, earth. And the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. So everything that he was doing, it was marvelous and wonderful. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the earth yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind. So apples, the apple tree giving apple trees, the orange tree giving orange tree. The orange tree giving oranges. Sorry. And the fruit tree is like after midnight, so that's why. But on the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. So just like he was imagining and saying it, it was happening. And that's how God had created us too. We have been created, on his image. So our words are powerful. They can create or destroy. So make sure you talk first. You have a clear image of what you want to create in your universe. What you want to say. Make sure that comes out of love and peace and patience that is coming from God. And then you talk, you create, and it's going to happen. Words are powerful. So God said, okay, let's advance more. We're in verse 12. I'm losing myself in the Bible. But verse 12. And the earth brought forth grass, and earth yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was it himself, after his kind. And God saw that it was good. So the orange trees giving oranges, it was wonderful, and the apple trees giving apples, it was wonderful. God was really enjoying that, seeing that, how it was happening before him. And the evening and the morning were the third day. Again, he did that on the third day, literally 3 days. No 3,000 years, no. Not evolution, but creation. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. That's why we have the stars. So when the stars, they show up on the sky, it's nighttime. It's time to go to sleep. When the sun comes out, it's the daytime, right? And let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. So, the lunar calendar, and that's how they guide themselves also in the past, in the solar calendar. So those stars, they serve for us, for signs and for seasons, and for days and for years, Usually, when you see a sign on the sky, it can be something good, right? Or, when the planets align themselves, with the moon, or on in the firmament, on the sky, in the sky, it can be a good thing, right? So there you go. Could be signs, seasons, days, and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth. And it was so. So God put us kind of like in the center almost of the universe, he was doing all of these things for us, to give light to the earth. That was really amazing. And God made 2 great lights. The greater light to rule the day, which is the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night, which is the moon. He made the stars also. Beautiful, beautiful to see in a clear sky at night, all the stars, right, shining. It's a beautiful reminder of God's creation, not evolution. One more time, creation. I think it's easier to believe in creation because all of this just by a chance, I don't think it could happen. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. So God put the stars up there to give light upon the earth. And to rule over the day and over the night. So the sun to rule over the day and the moon to rule over the night. To divide the light from the darkness. And God saw it was good, that it was good. God likes, clear things. Light is light. Darkness is darkness. Day is day. Night is night. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. 4 days in total. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that had life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. So, he gave, all the birds and the eagles and all these guys, the firmament, the beautiful firmament. God likes freedom. So he didn't put it in a cage, right? He let them fly free on the firmament. God created great whales and every living great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly. So there you go. You have all the fishes, fish, and all kinds of creatures, after their kind. So they are reproduced also after their own kind. And every winged fowl after his kind, those that they fly. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply. God is talking to the animals. That's great. And they can hear him. And fill the waters in the seas and let the fowl multiply in the earth. So, God likes abundance. God likes multiplication. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. 5 days already. And God said, let the earth bring forth a living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beasts of the earth after his kind. And it was so. God made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. Everything that God makes is good. And God says, this is something different, because all the other things, he's just talking out there. Let there be, let there be, let there be, let there be. He's talking to the universe, right? To the earth, to the waters. Okay, let the waters produce whales and fishes and creatures, all of that, and the birds. Now, he's changing the way he's talking. He's not talking anymore to the universe. Now he's talking to himself. That is very powerful. He says, let us, is God talking. And he's talking to himself. Let us make man in our image. So God is saying, okay, I want to make God. I want to make. Sorry. Well, in one way, we are almost like little gods, right? Because we're creating the image of God. But I wanted to say that. I wanted to say that we are created in His image, and He's saying that. He's saying, let us make man in our own image. God is talking to Himself, and He's saying, I want to create man in our image. Again, in the Hebrew is Elohim, which indicates, God, the plurality of God, like, it can be Spirit, the Word, and God, and all of them is just one God, right? But He's saying, let us make man in our own image, after our likeness. And we can see it, you can see it in your own. We are more complex than just the body, right? The body's there, but then the mind is there, the emotions are there, your real you is there, so we are like a triune being, we are one person, right? But at the same time, we have all these sides of us, right? The sun, you can see the sun, you can feel the heat, you can see the light of it, and then there's the sun there too, so you can see the three parts, or the three manifestations, or the three forms of the sun. The water, it can be frozen, the water can be liquid, and also the liquid and the water can be vapor, right? So that's how we can explain God, in a simple way that even children can understand, right? That's why He's saying, let us make man in our image, and after our likeness. But remember, it's only one God, okay? And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the earth, and over the cattle, over the fowl of the earth, over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God is giving us dominion, over all the animals. That's why, he gave the dominion to Adam, and Adam named all the animals that we know today. The giraffe, and the. Think about, that was an enormous task, just to name all the animals, But Adam was very intelligent, and he named it. He named the animals, and whatever he named them, that's what they are today. Because God gave him that authority. So God created man in His own image. He talked to Himself, let us create man in our own image. In the image of God created He him. Male and female created He them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful. You see, the same thing that He was telling the animals, He's telling now the man. His plan was for Adam and Eve, in that eternal state in the Garden of Eden, living forever, eating from the tree of life, they could live forever, is to procreate and have a race on this earth that will live forever. But then, Satan came, the serpent, and tempted the woman, and humanity fell, But God had another plan, and by sending His Son to this earth and dying for all of us, redeeming us with his blood and paying the price of that disobedience, of all the disobedience and sin of all of us. And in the future, he's going to do the same thing. He's going to restore all things on this planet and create new heavens, new earth. And they say that during the millennium, which is going to be 1,000 years, where Christ is going to be here on the earth, the people that are still alive, they didn't die before Christ came. I think they're going to be able to procreate. We'll see, but that was one of God's plan. That's why he said to Adam and Eve, yes, multiply, be fruitful, and replenish the earth on that stage of perfection, of eternity. They were living forever right there. So if Eve had a baby before the serpent tempted her, that baby will live forever. So, and to do it, God is giving Adam and Eve the complete dominion and control of this earth. So that's why sometimes, people ask, oh, why this happened on the earth, or why this happened here or there? Well, because God has given the dominion to man. He is in heaven, he has all the dominion there, but then he has given us, the men and women, the dominion of this earth. So what happens is that sometimes, we just have to behave nicely, So it is our fault, it's not God's fault, But again, all the answers, God has all the answers. I don't have all the answers, have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the earth and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And God said, behold, now is the eating part, which, when you are living in eternity, you don't have to eat much, I think. You just grab a piece of fruit from the tree, and that's enough to take you to the next 1,000 years. I can imagine. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree, and which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat or for food. So basically, God is giving Adam and Eve, all the herbs and all the fruit trees to eat. Very healthy and very, like I said before, those kinds of fruits, they were very special. I don't think they were just like the ones that we see now. Again, they were in eternal stage, so yeah, you eat one of those, you live for 1,000 years. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the earth, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And God, so he gave to the animals the same food, pretty much. The only difference is that the animals, they are not really able to grab a piece of fruit from the tree, so that's why God gives them the herbs to eat from the ground, like cows do, and and God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. I'm going to stop there. And 6 days so far, literally, in God's creation. And I'm so glad that I'm able to share with you how God created the heavens and the earth. And we'll continue next time. God bless you.